All right, YouTube. This is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit, back with another video. It's Monday morning, Inauguration Day. And as we've been seeing, the left is going out kicking and screaming. They want to cancel Snoop Dogg and Melly for performing at an inauguration event. Oprah's talking about leaving the country, and she ain't left yet. So y'all let me know if y'all get any pictures of her at the airport. But when you think about what's really going on, do you think Oprah and a lot of these celebrities are just leaving because they can't tolerate 4 years of Donald Trump? They've already lived with 4 years as Donald Trump in the presidency. But when he got to talking about revealing Epstein's list and the Diddy list and showing the connections between money laundering in the Ukraine back to people in Washington. And he got to talking about the things that Hunter Biden is accused of and was pardoned for. And ironically, Joe Biden just pardoned, allegedly, Fauci, Cheney, Schiff, and some more people dealing with the January 6th. Why do these people need blanket pardons if they didn't do anything wrong? They're being pardoned for things they haven't even been investigated for. Then, of course, Biden on his way out, on the left, they're trying to give him credit for the ceasefire with Netanyahu. Well, if that was the case, how come Biden couldn't get a ceasefire or talk to Netanyahu before Trump was coming in? It's smoke and mirrors. Biden and the left was a weak administration to the world. To the world. They could see what we refuse to see. They can see Biden's cognitive decline. They could see that he was going through dementia and other medical issues, allegedly, that we ignored because mainstream media told us not to believe our lying eyes, that he was fine. Now you have people in Congress talking about investigating who was actually signing documents for Biden when he doesn't even remember what he signed or what it is he is signing. These things loom over this inauguration day. You got people boycotting. Michelle Obama says she's not going. Nancy Pelosi says she's not going. It's a host of other liberals that say they're not going, as this token act of defiance, when in all actuality, we know they won't be missed. Their agenda won't be missed. All the things they ran on, we didn't need, we didn't want as a society. So they won't be missed. It's like they have delusions of grandeur where they think they are more important than they actually are. They think they're more relevant than they actually are. Because in this culture, we have put stars and celebrities on these pedestals, and then you find out they're just like anybody else operating out of self-interest. So why were they so surprised that Snoop Dogg would go perform? Because they believed his rhetoric when he said Trump was a fascist and don't vote for Trump. How many of you out there really feel like you gonna deal with fascism? Most of you don't even know what fascism is. And to compare him to Hitler was the ultimate insult. So now the new thing, other than a ceasefire, is the saving of TikTok. Saving of TikTok is interesting because my granddaughter even came to me and said, Papa, they finna remove TikTok. That's my favorite app. So she was under the illusion that conservatives wanted hip hop gone, when in all actuality, China owned hip hop. I mean, not hip hop, TikTok. China owned TikTok 100%. Now, under Trump, he's negotiated that the United States will own 50% of TikTok. Doesn't that seem smart to you? That you would not allow a foreign country who the left has been saying is your enemy forever run a social media app, getting all the information on American citizens without no oversight and no control from people who are actually Americans? So Trump accomplished that, saving TikTok. And that's income from a lot of people that be on TikTok. That's not really an app that I use. It's more for young people than me. But it's showing you that in the face of all this fear mongering and people acting as if they're so scared of a Trump term, it seems like the closer he gets to the White House, the more things open up and become better for the American citizens. Because if you can't see that you had an administration in for the last 4 years that had foreign interests over American interests, then you were just blind, or you have cognitive dissonance that won't let you see what was going on. Could you imagine Kamala Harris being inaugurated today? I mean, I'm sure there are some people that would be happy but those are people who don't really understand geopolitics and what that level of incompetence for another 4 years would have done to this country, done to the working class, done to the nuclear family. It would have destroyed what we know as culture. So today, before inauguration, I want to do a reaction video to Melanie King. Melanie King is doing a story on TikTok. I want you to see what they're saying. This for fair use under the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary and educational purposes. Let's check out the video.
TikTok has stopped working in the United States. It's disappeared from Apple and Google app stores too, as part of a blackout ahead of a law implementing its shutdown. The US has cited national security concerns about the Chinese-owned video app, but President-elect Donald Trump has said he will probably give it a 90-day reprieve from the ban.
A few moments later.
Breaking news from TikTok, the social media app, saying it is in the process of restoring service after going dark for more than 170 million American users late last night. In a statement, the company says President-elect Trump gave it the clarity that service providers would not be penalized. Congress passed the bipartisan bill last April that led to a current banning of TikTok. But it was Trump who signed an executive order, you remember, in August of 2020 to step up pressure on the Chinese-owned app to sell to an American company. Now, Trump is saying he wants the U.S. to have a 50% ownership stake between ByteDance or new owners.
Hey guys, so
I'm just going to interject briefly. So the left would have you believe that Trump's America First campaign is something that Americans should not like. They would have you consistently vote for things that go against your best interest, because you're celebrating right now. A lot of people are celebrating that a lot of Democrats are boycotting going to the inauguration, as if they don't realize they lost the House, the Senate, the presidency, the Supreme Court, and the popular vote. So their defiance is in defiance of the American people. Their sense of self-righteousness and righteous indignation is narcissistic, to say the least. These are some narcissists because they throw out decorum, diplomacy, and everything else when they don't get their way. And people don't like to really call them out because what? Of identity politics. You identify with them. You identify with these people who are paid politicians, not going to a political event because they lost. Really?
was working on a story about the TikTok ban when suddenly the service was restored. Now, I want to walk you through this. Now, I know I'm just smiling in the corner. No, I am not on camera because I was not prepared to go on camera quite yet, but I wanted to get this information out to you guys. I'm going to first read to you what the statement that TikTok made on X, which is crazy. They had to go to X to make a statement, and then we're going to get into more details about it. So right here, as you can see.
Did y'all miss that? They had to go to X to make a statement. Now, in the social media realm, a lot of people have a lot of problems with what Mark Zuckerberg said as he comes out now in support of Trump. Mark Zuckerberg has admitted that the Biden administration was censoring conservative views, which was really help shape a psychological narrative in the users because they were controlling the algorithm. You don't see a problem with that? That Biden administration pressured Zuckerberg to censor dissenting voices or oppositional voices in favor of having one narrative that you were bombarded with constantly. Now you can see why there's such a mental crisis on the people with the left. They were being indoctrinated and brainwashed by the Biden administration through social media. Let's watch some more.
Let me get into it. It says, a statement from TikTok. In agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. We thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. It's a strong stand for the First Amendment and against arbitrary censorship. We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States. And so what's so crazy? Take a look at what Elon Musk posted. So this is what he says. I have been against a TikTok ban for a long time because it goes against freedom of speech. That said, the current situation where TikTok is allowed to operate in America, but X is not allowed to operate in China is unbalanced. Something needs to change.
As Elon is saying, as Elon is stating, China has been buying land, acres and acres of land in the United States, but Americans do not buy land in China. So for China to have these type of sanctions when it comes to outsourcing or insourcing anything that comes from America into their country, it was an unfair business dealing. And that's one thing that the Biden administration lacked, any type of business sense. Let's listen to some more of this.
But they also cause a lot of drama in real life. Change. So I don't know if a lot of people know this, but essentially you cannot operate or own a business in China unless it is owned by a Chinese person, in the CCP, which is the government there in China, has to have a hand in it. So it's so crazy that we are allowed to, they are allowed to do business here. They're allowed to own land here. They're allowed to do anything they want here in the US if they are a Chinese citizen or a Chinese company. But we are not allowed to do the same because the same policy goes for owning property or anything else there. So why does America have to bend the rules for other countries? So I think this TikTok ban is really, it's, some people say it's a pissing contest, but I really believe it is Trump taking a strong stance and making sure that China doesn't get opportunities, or they have special rules, that apply for them that we don't get. So essentially, I think this makes sense, but I had no idea that this was happening, that this was what was going on until Elon posted it. TikTok is now dark in the United States. The president-elect says he will save TikTok. You just heard his national security advisor tell me moments ago that it might mean something short of an actual sale, some kind of firewall to protect Americans' data. You voted for this ban.
I did. Tough goal, but I ended up in the end voting for it.
If it's still owned by the Chinese, are you okay with that?
Well, I think it seems to me if there's some other remedy than someone else purchasing TikTok who's not affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party, that you would have to have some kind of change in the law. Maybe that's where we need to go, as long as there are the safeguards in place. And I think that's what Mr. Walls was pointing out earlier. But right now, you go in the app, it says you can't get the app, but we're fortunate that President Trump is committed to working with us to find a solution. So I think everyone thinks this is going to get solved because you have the guy coming in tomorrow into the White House who knows how to get deals done, knows how to get things solved. So I'm confident in that. But it seems to me if you're going to do something short of someone else purchasing TikTok and ByteDance no longer owning it, you're going to have a change in the law. And if that's what's warranted, then I think the Congress will look at that with the leadership from President Trump.
Senators Tom Cotton and Pete Ricketts released a statement a short while ago saying, now that the law has taken effect, there's no legal basis for any kind of extension by its effective date. For TikTok to come back online in the future, ByteDance must agree to the sale. So it sounds like they're kind of agreeing with what you said.
You have to change the law to do anything different than.
Also, just sort of philosophically, is that the approach that you would like the Trump administration even to consider? Or do you think a actual sale is the safest way to go?
Well, the law says a sale, but what we want is we don't want China spying on Americans. We don't want China influencing young people and 170 million people who are involved in this app. So that's what we want. How that gets resolved, I guess we're open to different scenarios. But right now, the law is the law. And of course, you got these companies abiding by the law. They don't want any type of liability concern they would have if they had allowed this app to continue. So,
and are you okay with the pause? Like if he comes into office tomorrow and brings it back online, as the law does allow him to do, you can have a 90-day.
Yeah, he's the commander in chief, and I think
what does that say, China hawk? What does that say about how serious America is about pushing back on China?
Oh, I think President Trump. I mean, here's a guy who's talked about tariffs on China. Here's a guy who's stood up to China. Here's a guy who I think projects strength from the Oval Office. I don't think Americans are too worried about that.
Now with TikTok coming back, Trump has saved it, put a moratorium on the ban, and you can now use TikTok. Well, there was all these liberals, freaking out and crying, and what are they going to do? Well, now they are saying, oh, it was a PR stunt. But I don't understand how they think it's a PR stunt when Trump said this is what he was going to do from the beginning, something that Biden refused to do. So now that Trump is coming into power, he can do the very thing he said he was going to do. I mean, he wrote an actual, he had his lawyers write a brief. I think it's a 17 or 18-page brief to the U.S. Supreme Court asking them not to do this, to delay it, to not ban it over freedom of speech. So why they're acting dumb, I don't know. My only thing I'm thinking is because they just watch mainstream media or they just listen to liberal propaganda and just didn't even hear it or know it or whatever. So they're saying it was a publicity stunt, but it's not. If you have a working brain, you knew that this was a pretty good chance, like a 99% chance that this would happen. That's what's kind of weird that all of these liberals were freaking out because I'm like, Trump said he was going to do this. But so, yeah, that's going viral right now. People are freaking out. I will bring more details about this later in the day once I'm ready to film, but here they are, liberals freaking out that he just wants to look like a good guy. Well, isn't it funny that Biden didn't want to be the good guy? So whichever way you want to spin it, and this is what gets on my nerves, anything Trump does that's good, they're going to spin it into something negative. We already know that's how they are. Guys, make sure you follow me on X. My name is there. I post a lot of cool things. In fact, let me show you one thing I just posted that will give you a chuckle. So one of the things is that I'm hoping I can do a review of it. Dave Chappelle has come back. He is the Dave Chappelle show, kind of. SNL had him come on as his pimp character and doing a Pop the Balloon with Ashley Larry. This is a new era because remember, Dave Chappelle was canceled by mainstream because he's transphobic, homophobic, and wokephobic. But again, everyone's bending the knee, even Saturday Night Live. But this is the one I want to show you guys. I reposted this and it is absolutely hilarious. Hold on, I gotta mute it. Let me just show you guys this. I gotta hit the post. It is so funny. No. No. So I hope you guys get a laugh out of that. Again, follow me at Real Melanie King on X. You could also follow me on Instagram at It's Melanie King. Look, all of my links are below. Also, if you want to support me, because recently I've had a slew of videos get demonetized.
Shout out to Melody King. She was definitely finna talk about how they have been demonetizing videos that have conservative perspectives. But hopefully that stops too. You know what I mean? And when you see the reality of what she's reporting on, the Biden administration were behind so much censoring in violation of the First Amendment. Any views that went against what they were telling the people were considered conspiracy theories, misinformation. You know, they didn't want freedom of speech to be something that the American people embraced if it contradicted their narrative. And now they're being exposed. You know, people are even trying to say Biden wants to take credit for the ceasefire, but all the time he's been acting as if he could sway Netanyahu to stop what he's doing in Gaza. He never had the intestinal fortitude to do that. The administration was weak. The administration was so weak that they put a candidate in front of you that nobody voted for and ran that candidate on the basis of she's black, a cosplaying chameleon running to run the country with a man they call Tampon Tim, who wanted tampons in the boys' bathroom. And after all of these things that we witnessed in the election cycle, their last ditch effort is to, we're not going to inauguration. Well, this Detroit's HBTV coming to you out of Detroit. Nobody cares that y'all are boycotting the inauguration. Nobody cares that the Congressional Black Caucus is not going. You need to be disbanded anyway because you misrepresenting yourselves as people who actually speak in behalf of the black community, and you don't. So you should opt out of anything that's going to give you publicity to push this narrative that you're an organization that actually represents the black community. You don't. You are out of touch. This is why you are so upset when you see Snoop Dogg or Nelly or anybody going over to the conservative side. You got to get used to it because not only will it be conservative for the next 4 years under Trump, 9 out of 10 in 2028, Vance will be the new president running for election in this country. Because on the left, you don't even have anybody that the people will trust with this country. At one time, y'all was even talking about running Gavin Newsom or Kamala again. That would be even more disastrous for you than this last election that you lost. So this is all I got for you coming out of Detroit this morning. We're going to follow the election. In the inauguration today. And we're going to see what other news comes to the forefront. As always, salute to all patriots. Keep your head on swivel. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.